Yeah. So, good morning. We're going to talk about the secrets, actually, not just one, but 5 of them, to living a long life. All right? We all want that, right? So, before we learn the secrets, I'd like you to do something that perhaps you have never done in your life before. I'd like you to write yourself a memo, a letter. All right? I did write something, just for example. Imagine yourself, you are 100 years old right now, 100 years old and healthy, 100 years old and you can still do planking, 100 years old and you can still, be happy. And you're looking and you're talking to yourself now. All right? What would you say to yourself now? Of course, as we grow older, we grow with wisdom. And so if you're your 100-year-old self, your centenarian self, what would you advise that you do more or less right now? So let's take a minute or so. You don't have to copy mine. So I wrote myself a little memo right here, very short memo. I know you're working so hard to make life better, but I advise you to take it easy. If I were to give you 3 wise pieces of advice, take this from the future you. And I'm telling myself now to worry less and relax more. All right? I think that resonates with everybody. You may or may not copy that. Work out more and eat less. Okay?
Try.
All right, let's try. Let's not do it. Let's not do it. And enjoy life as it comes. Which means not to worry whatever happens. Trust me, it would make life so much better for the 100-year-old you. All right? And so that's the centenarian gene. So if you're going to write yourself an advice right now, what would it be? Don't worry, we're not going to read it. So let's just do that. What would you tell yourself right now?
Not do you any good.
I think we've learned a long time ago, but we still do worry. All right. So maybe you can finish that later on. Keep that, put it in your Bible. Maybe tack it on your fridge. Or tape it in your cupboard, I don't know. Just to keep yourself abreast and being reminded of whatever these good things we ought to start doing right now, okay? So let's talk about, there are really no secrets in living a longer life. Scientists have already figured out what these are. We just don't practice them more. This gentleman, Dan Buettner, is an anthropologist, entrepreneur, and he became really interested in the demographics and the longevity and in the science of demographics and longevity. And so he began research into the regions of the world where the longest life expectancy, disability-free life expectancy, and a concentration of persons over 100 are congregating. So he asked himself, where are these places where people are living beyond 100? And why are they living beyond 100? What's in the place? What's in the people? And Dan Buettner was so surprised that there were so many people. All right, we would guess there's only be a handful, maybe 1 or 2, but there's a lot of them all over the world that live beyond 100. And he arbitrarily called these areas the blue zones. All right? So he went to each and every one of them, he was being followed by the National Geographic team to document the lifestyle, the ethos of the people who were living beyond 100. In fact, National Geographic published their own findings as they were following Dan Buettner and entitled this The Secrets of Living Longer, which is the title of our lecture today. Now, Dan Buettner went and, guess what? Intermingled, interacted with these people. His work is, now well known. Dr. Oz, Oprah, he shared with them what he found. And in fact, he wrote a book entitled The Blue Zones, Lessons for Living Longer from the People Who've Lived the Longest. All right, I don't know if you've read this. Have you, anybody has read this? I have a copy at my place, and I've read some of it, okay, most of it, in fact. And I'm going to share some of the things and most of the things that he discovered with all of us, with a little bit of our own Mighty Dove twist. All right? So, where did he find these areas where people are living beyond 100? All right? What are these places that he calls the hot spots for centenarian living, the blue zones? So, there's one in the east, Okinawa in Japan, which is a small island off the coast of Japan. And there's two of them in Europe, one in Sardinia, Italy, and Icaria, Greece, which is mountainous, surprisingly. Mountainous and beside the beach. There's one in South America, Nicoya, Costa Rica. And surprise of all surprise, there's one in California.
Wow.
Loma Linda, which is north of where we are. And the question is, why are people in these areas living longer than the rest of the world? All right, so he did an extensive research on this, and he identified a few common things. All right, so this is one of the ladies that this is more than 100 years old. This gentleman takes the bus every single day to his farm. Okay, this other guy still enjoys life. This lady from Japan in the morning still dives and gets her own meal by fishing. Okay. And this gentleman is not really 100 yet, but 98, still does cardiothoracic surgery in Loma Linda Hospital. All right, so how could they be so healthy, vibrant, and functioning, disability-free? That's a very important criteria at age 100. Okay? So he went to some of them and he noted the things that they were doing. Loma Linda, Okinawa, Sardinia, and he tried to figure out what's common amongst these areas. Okay? And he published what he calls the Power 9. All right? 9 secrets to living the 100-year-old life. All right? And I know you're all excited. We're going to read all of them and highlight a few of them for our lecture today. All right? So, first, he recommends, he endorses, he advocates that we move all the time. Move naturally. You don't have to really go to the gym. Walk, hike, bike, swim. Incorporate movement with your daily life. All right? Americans burn fewer than 100 calories when they work out. So it's not really happening for us if we are just going to the gym. Walking is the best activity for longevity. Especially in California, where we like to drive a lot, maybe this is a good reminder. You know, New Yorkers, they walk a lot, but in the West Coast, we drive a lot. In Japan, in Singapore, in China, they take public transportation, so they walk a lot. So, one of the secrets that he found was people were moving about all the time. And number 2, know your purpose. You know, when I was looking and reading at this book, I was hoping to find some scientific explanations and scientific endorsements, but it turned out to be something that we already know. Know your purpose, right? He noted that people who know why they wake up in the morning live up to 7 years longer than those who do not. What are you living for? What is your purpose in life? If you know why you are here and what you're living for, you have purpose in life, you will live longer than those who do not. The truth is, most people are depressed, do not have any reason to live for. And people who commit suicide are practically on the edge of depression. And just they say, I don't know, the world doesn't need me, and I don't know why I'm here, so let's just and this misery. And so he's saying people who are living the longest wake up in the morning with a sense of, I know what I'm doing here, and I have a mission to accomplish. All right? Do you know what your purpose is? Okay? Number 3, downshift. I think this is something we all need to remind ourselves. Chronic inflammation caused by stress is related to every major age-related disease. And to reverse inflammation, he recommends not aspirin, but find time each day to downshift, to relax, to meditate, to pray, to enjoy a happy hour, a nap. Sit back and relax. Spend time with your dogs, your plants. An hour each day is going to go a long way. All right? We're always, we're adrenaline junkies. We want to move from one activity to the other, hoping that we could cram every minute and every second of our schedule with something that's going to make us more money. But the secret to living a long life is to do the reverse, to downshift, to downgrade, and find every day, find a day and a moment, an hour every day to just be with yourself and relax. All right? Number 4, 80% rule. Cut 20% of your calories with evidence-based practices. Eat a big breakfast, eat with your family, remove TV from your dining area, and say a pre-meal expression of appreciation. We do that all the time. We pray, right? But he's saying, this is from the Japanese expression hara hachibu, and maybe Stan could enlighten us a little bit. But what I get from that is, if you're 80% full, you're full. Once you start feeling full, you push the plate away. Okay? We have this tendency to put more into our plate than we can really ever enjoy or eat. Right? We have the buffet, scarcity mentality. Let's eat everything because tomorrow is going to go away. So we start piling on. And then 60% of the way we're already full. But since the food is already there, what do? We finish it. Right? But Hara Hachibu says, if you wanna live longer, once you start feeling full, you say, enough. All right? Let's push the plate away. Number 5, plant slant. Eat mostly a plant-based diet, heavy on beans, nuts, and green plants. Eat meat in small proportions, fewer than twice weekly. Okay? Eat more plants. And if you're going to eat meat, twice weekly. There's a study of Juneau, Alaska. This is an 8-year longitudinal study. They were studying people who were eating, according to the study, 5 days a week fish and 2 days a week meat. All right, so it's a 5-2 diet. And after 8 years of longitudinal observational study, they found out that everyone who was at the beginning of the study, hypertensive and diabetic and obese, after 8 years, were healthy, normal people. They were eating less meat than most of us. Okay? So eat more of the plant and eat less of red meat. If you are going to eat red meat, he recommends only twice a week. All right? Wine at 5 p.m. Right? I don't know why. That was part of it. Drinkers of wine outlive non-drinkers. Okay, we're going to talk about that. I'm going to elaborate on it. 2 glasses of wine daily will add years to your life, especially when consumed with a plant-based diet. So we're going to leave that off. But I'm going to talk about that a little bit more. Family first. Living in a thriving family is worth half a dozen extra years. Invest time with in your kids, nurture a monogamous relationship, and keep your aging parents nearby. Wow. The world needs to hear this, you know. This is exactly what the world does not espouse. Monogamous relationships, family time, you know. And he says, you want to live longer? That's the secret right there. Invest in family. Number 8, belong, recommit, reconnect, or explore a new faith-based community. People who show up to their faith community 4 times a month live an extra 4 to 14 years. If you just go to church once a week, you're going to add 4 to 14 years to your life. Wow. All right? So, this is something that I guess scientists would be baffled. That's not a scientific recommendation. But that's exactly what he found in these places. People belong to a faith-based community. Loma Linda is a huge Seventh-day Adventist community. All right? And number 9, right tribe. Take a stock of your friends, who your friends are. Expand your social circle. Include healthy-minded, supportive people, and they will be the most powerful influence in your life. Surround yourself with people who think healthy. That's what he's saying. And these are the power 9. But today, let me just focus on number 6. And this is, as both a pastor and a scientist, baffled me. What has wine got to do with this? Okay? Do I really have to drink 2 glasses of wine every day to live longer? What if I don't? Will that cut my life short? So the answer to that question is, what's in the wine that makes it, in a way, quote unquote, good for us? Okay, I'm not going to say healthy. Good for us. What's in that wine that's giving some benefit to our centenarians? And this is where we find the French paradox study. Okay, a paradox is where what's not supposed to be working is working. That's a paradox. And the French have their own paradox. And their paradox is this. An average French person consumes 108 grams per day of fat from animal sources, while an average American consumes only 72. The paradox is, even though the French eat 4 times as much butter and 60% more cheese and nearly 3 times as much pork than Americans, they suffer a relatively low incidence of coronary heart disease. We've been told that we need to cut on fat, we need to cut on butter, we need to cut on pork, and they're eating more of it, and yet they have a very low cardiovascular problem rate. So what are they doing that prevents them from having coronary problems? All right? And the secret is red wine. As the French would say it, vin rouge. They compared the French, all right, their intake of red wine versus the incidence of heart disease. Look, the Irish and the Scottish who drink whiskey and scotch. So it's not the alcohol that helps. They're one of the highest cardiovascular problem rates. While the French who drink red wine, along with the Italians who drink a lot of red wine too, they're one of the lowest cardiovascular prevalence rates. USA is right about there. In the English, they drink a lot of beer, and as well as the Australians, so they're about the middle. So it's not the alcohol per se. It's not like if you drink gin or vodka, it's going to help. There's something in red wine that makes this outstanding. All right? And so there was a study done in University of Toronto in Ontario, University of Toronto in Ontario, Canada, comparing what's in red wine and what's in white wine. They compared red and white wines side by side. And they found this, okay? So, they measured the alcohol content and they're pretty much even. They measured the amino acid, white wine is a bit higher. They measured the amino acids here, amino acids here, they're pretty much even. Sugars, fats, vitamins. And the only difference between red and white, which perhaps is the secret, behind the French paradox is this group of compounds called the phenols. What are phenols? Phenols are basically substances that give red grapes its pigment, its dark color. All right? So the darker the color of the grape, the higher the phenolic content. And phenols have been found to be powerful antioxidants. So it's not per se the wine, it's the phenolic compound that protects the French from the higher incidence of cardiovascular problems. That's the secret right there. And so you really don't have to drink wine every day. You just have to take more phenols to live beyond 100. All right, so look at this. The French have higher consumptions of red wine every day, and that separates them from the rest. Okay? So our polyphenols now, the new medicine of the future. This is an article asking, is it time to prescribe red wine for our patients? Okay, well, even though we know that red wine protects the French, it's actually the polyphenols. That is the, shall we say, the compound here that gives them that protection. And that, believe it or not, that polyphenolic compound is also found elsewhere. It's not exclusive to red grapes or dark berries. It's also present in barley. Right? The good news is Pagani greens has high content, has a high content of phenolic compounds. And so one of the secrets that we need to embrace in living a long life is to increase our ingestion or intake of phenolic compounds, just like the French do. So every capsule of Pagani greens has barley, alpha-alpha, and chlorella. And barley contains not just one, but 28 different polyphenolic compounds. A total of 28 phenolic compounds were identified and quantified from the leaves, seeds, and stems. And guess where the highest concentration of these phenols are? In the leaves, which we use in our product, Pagani greens. So if you put one and one together, what I'm saying is you don't really have to drink red wine. Just take Pagani greens. And you'll have the same benefit as drinking red wine at 5 p.m. every single day. Without the buzz. Without the buzz, all right? Plus, there's a novel flavonoid phenol compound exclusively isolated from barley. And this flavonoid is stronger, a much stronger antioxidant than vitamin E, beta-carotene, even fish oils. And they stop the formation of atherosclerosis better than vitamin C. Oh, we love vitamin C, right? And we know its properties. But the phenols found in barley beat vitamin C all the time. So the first secret is take more phenolic compounds. All right? Now there's a second secret. All right? The second secret is increase your intake of products with high ORAC values. Okay? Now let me explain what ORAC is. ORAC stands for oxygen radical absorption capacity. All right? In layman's parlance, it's the power of an antioxidant in quenching these free radical toxins in our body. We produce a lot of free radical toxins in our body. They're garbage. And free radical toxins disrupt DNA. And every organ of our body is always a constant target for free radical attacks. And once they're successful, in the eyes you can have cataracts, in your kidneys you have kidney failure, and on and on. One study published by the U.S. Department of Agriculture very, very early on in 1999 identified this. High ORAC foods will slow down aging. All right? We have known this for decades now, that powerful antioxidants, the ones with the higher ORAC values. Now, there are plenty of antioxidants in nature and in the market. And they're saying the ones with the higher ORAC values, with more power to quench free radical toxins, are better at slowing down aging. There's a need for antioxidation. Okay, let me just read this. According to an article written by Judy McBride, eating large amounts of foods with high ORAC values resulted in the following. It raised the antioxidation power of the blood by 10 to 25%. All right? And prevented loss of long-term memory and learning, even middle-aged rats in a study. Maintain the ability of brain cells to respond to stimulation. Okay? Even that with increasing age. And, of course, prevents the blood vessels from oxygen radical-related damage, which is the beginnings of atherosclerosis. So it slows down aging in this manner. So, how much do we need every day? Studies show that an average person gets only 1,200 ORAC units every day from 3 fruits and vegetables. However, we need 3,000 to 5,000 ORAC units per day to really keep up. And if you have a very, very stressful lifestyle, I think you should triple this. Okay? If you're a warrior, quadruple that. Okay? So, guess what? Where do we get this? Okay? Good news, if you compare the ORAC absorption capacity, the oxygen radical absorption capacity, or ORAC values of anything that's occurring in nature, side by side, you will find that of all this, look at this, look at the bottom. Young barley grass has one of the highest ORAC rated antioxidant. This is 1 unit or half a cup. So half a cup of iceberg lettuce is 5. And then you go to strawberries, 77. Dark honey, 82. Blackberries, raisins, prunes, 289. But half a cup of young barley is 1275. One dose, one intake of our product, okay, a couple of capsules is right there. Almost 3,000. So if you take 2 in the morning and 2 in the afternoon, you pretty much are covered with your ORAC needs, ORAC value needs every single day. All right? So look at this. In another study, the USDA recommends 3 to 5,000. Barley, by maybe this 1 gram, 25,500 ORAC values. Compared to corn or oranges or raisins or prune. One of the highest rated ORAC value antioxidants in the market. That's secret number 2. So besides the polyphenols, we get high ORAC food values. Third secret, okay, I don't know if you are aware of this, increase in protein intake plus increase in activity increases life expectancy. Okay? In one study, all right, this is from Sun Sentinel, new studies target muscle mass as the key to successful aging. Okay? Which part of the body is most vital to seniors' independence? Studies increasingly suggest it's not the mind, the bones, or the heart. It's their muscles. Researchers armed with new federal funding are exploring the ties between maintaining muscle mass and successful aging. All right? So it's building muscle mass that is the key to a disability-free long life. If we move, if you like work out, swim, exercise regularly, you build your muscle mass, and the bonus of that is you strengthen your bones. Right? We always think of exercise as a strenuous workout we have to do. It doesn't have to be that way. But if we keep a regular practice of exercise on a weekly basis, and we keep our muscle mass strong and well built, this is the key to a disability-free long life. Okay? So, plus of course, we have to understand that in order to build muscle mass, we need proteins. Because the building blocks of our muscles are amino acids. So barley grass juice and powder, basically, believe it or not, is made up primarily of proteins. 45% of our product is plant protein. So you really don't need a burger to build, or a steak to build your muscles. Just do an exercise and feed. This is the raw material for building the muscle mass. Feed yourself, your bodies, with the right amounts of protein through barley grass. In comparison, right? In comparison, it's 10% more protein than wheat flour, 3% more than milks, 12% more than eggs, and 16% more protein than steak. Okay? All right, there's so many amino acids in barley. Some of them are really wonderful. Arginine for wound healing and blood vessel dilation. Alanine for healthy blood glucose levels. Valine to help you sleep well longer. Tyrosine for growth, stimulation of the muscles. And one more thing, our product also has chlorella. Chlorella is a single-cell algae which is known to be a wonderful source of protein. 45% protein. So it's not just barley, it's also chlorella that will provide us with the protein that we need. In fact, early on in its history, when they were thinking in the 50s and planning for the future World War III, they were saying the world might run out of food sources. So they started, Berkeley, Stanford started looking at chlorella and harvesting chlorella and processing chlorella as tomorrow's source, the future source of proteins rather than red meat. They were saying, if we cannot have cows in the future, let's just have chlorella. The good news is, we have chlorella in Pagani greens, a great source of protein. So, of course, protein plus exercise, don't forget the exercise part, builds muscle mass. All right, so we talked about that 40 to 50% protein, rich source of omega-3 fatty acid. All right, here's the fourth secret right here. Special anti-aging compounds found in barley. Special, novel, unique anti-aging compound found in barley. What is that? Dr. Hota from UC San Diego isolated this compound called P4D1. And he found out that this enzyme helps repair damaged DNA. DNA damaged by aging. All right? Aging in cells is speeded up by DNA damage. And so, the logic here is, if you have an enzyme that repairs DNA damage, then you will slow down aging, plus you will improve the odds of that old cell from producing damaged DNA in the future. In fact, that new cell will be so well repaired and so well put together that they produce brand new, young, vibrant cells. And he discovered that, he isolated that from barley. So whenever you take barley, you get a special bonus from P4D1 to repair damaged DNA. And the final secret is internal detoxifiers. A detoxifier is a substance that cleans our body. Right? We wash our hair, we soap our body, but what do we do to clean the insides of our body? But perhaps nothing, right? Unless you drink soap or shampoo. I don't think that's even good. But guess what? Chlorella is a powerful internal cleanser. Toxins in the environment accelerate aging. That's not new to us. We already know. Genetic studies have taught us that only 30% of aging is genetic, while 70% of aging comes from the environment, the toxins around us. So if we live in a toxic environment, our bodies will age more rapidly. And so, toxins have been identified as one of the things that can hasten aging. Aging occurs when our bodies go into a biological process known as senescence, wherein healthy cells become damaged and lose their ability to divide. And over time, these damaged cells accumulate in the body and so disrupt normal processes. So, today we have a term for these environmental toxins that cause rapid aging. They're called gerontogens. Gerontogens. Okay? These are the toxins that put people at increased risk for accelerated aging. Now, there's nothing wrong with getting old. What we don't want is to hasten the process. You don't want to be looking like 80 years old when you're 40. Right? Gerontogen can do that. And so what do? We need to get rid of these toxins in our body, and chlorella is a powerful product that does that. It binds to mercury, it binds to lead, it binds to heavy metals like cadmium. All right? Now, people will always ask me, I don't eat mercury. I don't know where I get lead, but we all do. Lead is in the paint in our homes. Lead is in the exhaust of our cars. Our gas is called unleaded for something. Because gas has a lot of lead. All right? Go to the Philippines, look at the smoke around, there's a lot of lead right there. Okay? Mercury is in big sea fishes, like tuna or mackerel. So if you have sushi, you have mercury. All right? And we're saying, well, this is healthier than red meat, so let's just eat a lot of sashimi. Not knowing that many of these big fish contain mercury. Cadmium, if you wear a watch that has this battery, then you're in contact with cadmium. And these are gerontogens. And what does chlorella do? They bind to them and eliminate them from our body, from our system. This is a study done in Chulalongkorn in India, in Thailand. Okay, absorption of mercury, cadmium, and lead by the microalgae chlorella. All right. So in one study, they also found in Japan that it reduces the oxygen levels, which can cross from mother to child, especially when they're breastfeeding. These are powerful diabetes-causing toxins as well. And chlorella binds to the dioxins and takes them away. So, guess what? We don't have to go far. You don't have to really buy a bottle of wine from Costco. All you have to do is grab a bottle of barley, and you have all 5 of the secrets in one single bottle of Pagani greens. All right. So how do we take them? Maybe 2 capsules in the morning and 2 in the afternoon or evening, and that's more than enough to provide us with how much then? 3,000 to 5,000 high ORAC value antioxidant compounds. All right? You don't have to look far. People are always saying, do I have to buy this? Do I have to buy that? No, you don't have to. This is a natural source of anti-aging compounds in one bottle. All right? So with that, thank you for listening, and maybe get to our questions. So whatever you wrote for your future, for your young self today, from your future you, all right? Keep that in mind, and add on the bottom, drink more Pagani greens.
But that's amazing. We have that in our hands and we don't know how really good it is.
Yeah. And that's the problem, is sometimes we're sitting on a treasure.
Yeah.
We just don't know.
We need this and this.
Yeah, and maybe we should have that in DVD so we could show that to our clients.
Yeah, that's right.
This one we can do
Yeah,
that.
we can do that, and then
You know what I'm talking about? That when we send it to the Philippines, how fast is it through?
I think online. You send it online, huh?
No, because I wanted that for them to show that next Saturday.
Oh, yeah. It'll get there today.
Oh, yeah? Okay, so
And you can send them the slides.
and the slides. But what we can do though, I think this is really good. This is a very good presentation for the Pagani, and then we have the very good presentation for the Rishi, and that's enough. And
Yeah, this is basically for Pagani, right? This is all in one.
Yeah, because somebody is asking me what's the.
That's a lot.
Explain that.
Now you'll never forget your Pagani.
Oh, yeah.
So it's taking like 2 in the morning, so you can have 2 more, so you can buy more.
Right, exactly. And our target market are people who are looking for a healthy life anyway. All right, so this is wonderful.
Come on, there's this Mo Sylvia. Now you're
we already have the Rishi doctor. We have the Rishi.
Yeah, we record the Rishi.
We're going to have a good.
We record the Rishi.
I'll put it in the MDTV
You
too.
could probably put it in paper so they could read it too, but
the DVD.
You
we
want to
just-
put this in the DVD?
Let them
prepare the DVD,
see it
right,
and
to the
then-
agent?
Yeah, we need to.
Huh?